All right, and welcome back to another race update episode. So this week I wanted to talk about two things I did right and one thing I did horribly wrong. Unfortunately, the horribly wrong thing that I did was a two-parter. First off, in the race, I did terrible. And I would love to show you why I did terrible, but I did not get the race recorded. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you. What I can tell you is it was a ladder race, and I feel like my choice in wheels may have led to myself and a couple of our guys who decided to listen to me on my choice of wheels and follow suit. I feel like I put us in a position where we just did not race well and weren't able to keep up with the team that we were racing against, even though the team we were racing against was absolute rock stars. And so here we are going on the TTT and heading up the Shisha climb. And so what I wanted to talk about here is the importance of having essentially a strong presence up front. You see we got Shep up front, and I'm kind of pulling towards the front as well, but Shep in the pink and yellow jersey there is basically just holding a fantastic effort. And that basically allowed us to just stay on his wheel the entire time, and he paced us up this climb absolutely perfectly. And I know I've talked about it in the past, pacing when it comes to climbing matters. And so you want someone on the front that can hold a steady pace, especially through uneven climbs, so that way the team can, essentially focus on that rider rather than their own efforts. And so as we cross the sprint here on the bridge, we start getting towards the downhill slope, and this is where, the chaos starts to happen. As I've talked about before, when it comes to going downhill, it's gonna be chaos because every rider is different, every rider weight is different, every rider dynamic is different. Even though for the most part we're all on the same bike, but we were all calling each other and like, hey, just I'm gonna go up front, and then I'm gonna go up front. And it basically just came down to, if you had the weight and momentum, you were going up front, and someone else had the weight and momentum, they'd push past you. And while that is chaotic in the moment, it served us really, really well on this race because it allowed the people that needed to rest, and the people who had the weight to push forward to still get some rest while taking, basically getting into the wind. And so it worked out really well. Ended up being a fantastic race, absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and jump here to the finish as we start getting towards the finishing climb. Now this ending was horrible. This is a country and coast route, and boy oh boy did this hurt. So this route starts on a climb, basically right here starts on this climb and then ends on this climb. And so as we start rolling up, again, Shep is up on the front and we're just kind of pacing off of him. Now as we start to pass this team up ahead of us, the 2, 3, 4 US MES guys, we start to pull past them, and you can see I'm a little bit off the draft right there, but at this point I recognize that, hey, we've got our 4 guys are already up. You got Lee that kind of passes right by me, got Greg on my wheel, and my thought at this point was like, you know what, we've got our 4 guys ahead. Greg is on my wheel, he did a lot of work, and so I'm just gonna hold where I'm at and let Greg draft off of me for the rest of the 100 plus meters that are left, because at this point our fate is sealed. Our guys are doing great. Greg's just pushing everybody, encouraging everybody, and I wanted to give him as much of myself as possible, knowing that we were at the finish line here. And so as we crossed the line, I believe we ended up in either 3rd place or 5th place, somewhere around there in the when it comes to the TTT. But either way, it was a fantastic race. I know, you know, we show 1 through 6 there. It was a fantastic effort, absolutely fantastic effort. Great teamwork, and really truly pushed hard on this one. All right, so jumping over to our ladder race, a different ladder race this time around. We are in the downtown Dolphin, and man, oh man, this was a great race, great team. The coalition,
these front 2 guys.
And so what I was mentioning there is basically the front 2 guys that are now behind me were the main ones pushing on this, you know, on this entire race. You know, we have Ryan up front, who's absolutely gone. He's a minute ahead. No one's. When he left. No one tried to catch him. He pushed on, and we were happy about that, because it's always nice to have a rider, especially with such a big distance up front. And so as we start to round this corner, my focus at this point, first off, I was very stressed out that this was 12 laps. I've never done 12 laps in Downtown Dolphin. I don't think I've ever done 10 laps on Downtown Dolphin. And so I was worried, because this course is deceptively hard. This little tiny climb that, you know, we went through 12 times really made me hurt. And so as we're rounding the corner here, I've still got my Ghost, and I'm like, all right, you know, I've got some momentum. I start to round the corner, and I let the team know, hey, I'm going to use my Ghost when we get there. And I didn't intentionally plan an attack, but I had the momentum, so I basically just kept going. And so this is where we're picking up at this moment here.
I'm gonna use my Ghost up the hill.
And so as you can see, I, you know, give a big dig. And again, you know, I didn't intend on going that far, but then as I got the momentum, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go. And my thought process this whole time was, if I can get around these corners, and I think this is really what the Ghost is made for on this lap, on this course. If you can get around the corner with the Ghost, where they can't see where you're at, now you put them in a panic of like, what happened to this guy? How far ahead is he? Now they're gonna, you know, you're gonna start looking at the list. My guys are like, hey, you got 5 seconds, just keep going. And
they're not chasing yet.
I'm like, all right, they're not chasing, so let me push up to my 20-minute power, 3.2, 3.5-ish, and see how long I can hold that. But again, right now we're on the 10th of 12 laps, and I
6 seconds.
am really not thinking I can hold off that long. You know, 2 more laps by myself. You know, even though I was feeling like I was in a good rhythm, you know, I adjusted my seat over the weekend and kind of found a good middle spot where if I can find the right position on it, then I can, you know, basically hold my 20-minute power more comfortably.
Good job, Miguel. Keep going.
And so, you know, I've got about 7 seconds right now, and just feeling like my heart rate's in the 170s. I don't know if I can do this. You know, I'm looking at it like, okay, I've got, you know, 2 more laps to go, 2 full laps left. Oh, I didn't even notice the lap
Would have
counter
been done
there
by
on the
now
right-hand side.
if it were
That was
10
cool.
laps.
And so, yeah, I was thinking like, all right, if this was 10 laps, I'd have a good gap on them. They're going to want to push to catch up to me at this point, which is going to make them hurt even more than what they are. But at the end of the day, my guys can draft off of them as they pull their way up to me. So a couple of their guys start to launch. And from what my guys were telling me, this was basically the move that kind of made the finish what it was. Because the guys that started pushing on their team basically started dropping their own guys, which it's happened to me. We've done it to people. Like, I know exactly how that feels.
I'm not going to be able to.
And so as I round this corner, especially specifically for the climb, I was like, all right, they've got 4 seconds, 3 seconds. I'm not gonna be able to out climb them with the way I was feeling. I was just,
They've got 3 guys back, so just hang
my
on.
legs were hurting.
Seconds off.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
every single lap, as you can see, my guys are pulling up. I'm like, all right, I got to stay with them and push hard. And so every time we did this, I was pushing 500, 600, 700 watts going up this climb. Now, the first half of the climb is quick and deceptively easy. But once you get to that middle section, that 5%, you know, on the second half is really where the pain starts to happen. And so you see our two guys starts to separate and push forward. I stay in front of this guy, but I stay in front of him purposefully. I try to maneuver into him. I purposely tried to stay in front of him to slow him down.
I am.
Yeah, Miguel, slow down.
I am.
And so, as you heard, my guys were like, "Hey, just slow down," and that's what I was doing. I was trying to slow down, and then he was starting to get away from me. So I was like, "All right, I need to pull back up. I need to get to him because I don't want him to just completely pull away." I've got another rider coming up behind me. And so going through these rollers was actually pretty chill. I felt like weight and momentum was good to go through these hills. I was able to just kind of coast. And so that gave me a little bit of rest while their guys kind of kept pulling. And as you see, coming through this, into this last lap, it is me with 4 other coalition guys.
You're not pulling yet.
And at this point, I am excited because our 2 guys are 8 seconds ahead and, basically gone. The 2 of them working together have the power to completely finish this strong, especially, and what you guys didn't see, as you can see the little lap marker on the right hand side. You got 1 lap left, basically last
I got
lap.
a ghost, so I'm gonna use it on the hill again.
I'm using it now, Keith. Let's go.
And so as we're going on this last lap,
You're not
our
chasing.
2 guys that are moving, that are basically ahead, they spent a handful of laps out in front like that. And so this is their second time doing this kind of a breakaway. But as you can see, they're not chasing. So they're just that exhausted that they've already kind of conceded to the idea that, hey, they're not gonna catch them. They've got 15 seconds right now ahead, and at this point they're just looking at, can they, they got to be thinking at this point, can we drop Miguel, make sure that he doesn't get to the line ahead of us, because they don't, no one wants a complete shutout for a race. And as you can see, Ryan is on the bottom of the list because he is that far ahead of us, basically coming up to the tail end of the race. And so as we get ready to hit the climb again, I know I've got to give it one more dig in order to get up there and basically get over this hill. I want to do my best to stay with them and not get dropped. And that's really the only thing I'm thinking about at this point, is I don't want to get dropped. So I kind of coast up the first half, and as you saw, they didn't really push that hard. But the second half is where the pain came. At least I thought where the pain was going to come. And again, yeah, we're pushing 400 watts, but they didn't really push that hard. So, yeah, one of the guys disappears. And at this point, I'm thinking like, all right, he's going to, pop ahead. Second guy disappears. And I'm like, all right, I've got to push. Like, I've got to, I'm going to have to keep an eye on them. You see this guy pops up, way in the distance there, a few seconds ahead, 2 seconds ahead. Another guy pops up, basically, second or 2 ahead. And, they've got a good enough gap to where I'm going to have to work to try and catch them if I'm going to try and beat them on the sprint. With 500 meters to go, going through these rollers, again, these rollers weren't difficult. Coming in this direction, they're not difficult. The opposite direction, super hard. And so as we're rolling through, I got these 2 guys behind me. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to let them out sprint me, but I also don't want to, I don't want to let these 2 guys in front of me get to the line ahead. And so I give as big of a dig as possible, get into 600-700 watts from, 300 meters-ish out, and I get all the way up to the end and almost catch them.
Almost caught him.
Thankfully, I kept the other guys away. Only let 2 guys
great job, guys.
beat me from their team, which was a fantastic finish.
Oh, that hurt.
Considering how much pain I was in. So there you go. That was that was a match.
Oh my God.
Again, fantastic race. I feel like, again, I didn't look at that maneuver as that was going to be what makes the race. I was just looking at it as, I know they're tired. We've spent the last handful of laps going at the same speed. No one's pushing. They're not pushing. We're not pushing. And so I just kind of looked at it as, I'm going to use my ghost. I'm going to push. And then it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And ultimately that made,
Oh my God.
basically set us up for a fantastic win. So hope you guys enjoyed. I will end it there for now. And I will see you guys on the next race. Hey guys, it's Miguel from That Thing You Just Watched. Hope you enjoyed that video, whether it was topic on nutrition or racing or a combination of both. Feel free to come back. I will continue to put out videos like this and continue to showcase what you can do with smart nutritional strategies, combining that with racing, because that is what this channel is all about. And feel free to check in if you want to see more racing. Click on wherever the link's at, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next race.